that tell you that you're live.
Right.
Okay, so now you're live.
Right.
Okay, I guess it's not showing up on.
It shows live over here.
Okay, yeah, and you're live. We're good.
Okay. I hope so. If I was dead, that's a
Yep.
disturbing, consequence. But
Okay.
hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. This is 2.5 Opinions.
Yeah.
I'm Frank.
I'm Yishai.
And I'm that other guy. I'm not Chris. I am not Chris Matthews.
He's the
okay. That's a true statement. That's a true statement.
He's
there you
the
go.
fill-in for not the Rebbe.
Yeah, I'm.
Wait a second, Jesse. We got Gandalf on the line.
Saruman.
Yeah. No, you're not Saruman. You're not wearing white.
Yeah, well, he's my brother. We
Okay.
have the same name. My sister used to go around and say, "Hi, this is my brother Saruman and my other brother Saruman." So, we're having
only those people who know the Bob Newhart show actually know that reference.
That's right. So with the Kevin Bacon game, I can tie the Newhart show to Lord of the Rings in 2 levels. So. And if you want to do it,
it's the Greek.
We'll go Y G Q S V.
Oh, come on, Mark.
3, 4, 9, 12. There you go.
So you're getting a new prescription.
I don't know. I'm just here, man.
Okay. So this week's portion is Jesse.
This week is Vaira, which deals with the first 7, I believe. It at least opens us up with the plagues. Vaira.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. The first 7 plagues. Moses basically goes and says, "Pharaoh, let my people go." Pharaoh says, "I don't know you, Moses. Well, I know you, Moses, but I don't know your God, and you're not going anywhere."
I know this portion as the one between Shemot and Bo. That's
stay and go.
That's how I know this one. Okay, so I'm here for a couple of minutes, and just to make sure everything's going good. And is everything going good? You guys like it? Are you good?
Well, as I can tell, yeah.
Okay. And you, like I say, when you end, hit the stop broadcast and the hang up call up there. And Jesse, you have to hang up also on your end. So
all
there
right.
you go.
Sounds good.
Okie dokie. It's all yours. Call me if you need me. I'll turn the ringer off.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Oh, man.
God bless everybody. Have a good show. And like I say, let me know if you need me. I can't sit here very long. My ankle hurts. So
I understood.
Later.
All right, later.
For the small handful of people who might be listening, leave a comment down in the comment section below. Tell us what we're thinking.
Okay.
You mean tell us what they're thinking?
Oh, there you go. That's right.
Yeah. Hey, Jesse, can you turn your volume up?
I will try. I keep having to hit the silence button.
I'll actually go ahead and promote you on Facebook right now. So maybe that'll help bring some people in. Like I say, next week I will be promoting this through the week and let people know you guys are back on and everything. So I usually don't do that until I know everything's going good. But right now during the show, Jesse, do you know how to promote the show during the broadcast?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. You do go to the YouTube channel, right? You were in there last week or whatever while you're and bring up the video. Right underneath it is share. You click
Ah,
share, and you
yeah.
can put it out on whatever social media you want to put it out on while the show's going on, and it invites people in.
Okay, okay.
Just hit share button. All right, all right,
Alrighty then.
okay,
All right.
okay. Here we go.
So, Jesse, your little VU meter on the bottom is green dots going from one side to the other.
I think so.
You're talking about his
Uh,
green meter when he talks.
yeah. What
Yeah,
about my green meter?
It lets you
I'm
know.
just saying it's actually showing dots when you speak.
No, no, not when I speak. It only shows it when you two speak.
Oh,
Okay, well
that
I can
should
hear you,
be right.
so
That should be right. He shouldn't see his
okay.
own. I don't think. I don't know. All right, all right. I'm out of here.
All right. Okay,
What
so Jesse, this is Vayera, and it's what from what paragraph to what paragraph?
Oh, this is dealing with chapter 6, verse 2 through 9 through 35 of Exodus, which
Okay.
seem sorry, nose problems, sinus. Seems to be delving on the subject of trying to finally convince Pharaoh to just stop being so strong-willed and just let the children of Israel go. I mean, come on, man. They need to be let go already.
All right. So what portion, what aliyah would you like to read?
Given the circumstances, let's just start with the first aliyah and we'll go from there. Because it seems like we're
Okay.
going to be all over the board with this parsha, or at least as much
Well, we
overlap
might.
as we can.
We might. Okay. So when you're ready, I'll do the blessing.
I believe I can fly.
Do I?
I'm ready. I said I believe
Okay.
I can fly.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bakar banu mikol ha'amim v'tan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah. El melech ne'eman.
Amen. The first aliyah of Vayera, Exodus chapter 6, verse 2 through 13. God spoke to Moses and he said to him, I am the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob with the name Almighty God, but with my name, Yod He Vav He, I did not become known to them. And also I established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their sojournings in which they sojourned. And also I heard the moans of the children of Israel, whom the Egyptians are holding in bondage, and I remembered my covenant. Therefore say to the children of Israel, I am the Lord, and I will take you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will save you from their labor, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with great judgments. And I will take you to me as a people, and I will be a God to you, and you will know that I am the Lord your God, who has brought you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. I will bring you to the land concerning which I raised my hand to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, and I will give it to you as a heritage. I am the Lord. Moses spoke thus to the children of Israel, but they did not hearken to Moses because of their shortness of breath and because of their hard labor. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Come, speak to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and he will let the children of Israel out of his land. But Moses spoke before the Lord, saying, Behold, the children of Israel did not hearken to me. How then will Pharaoh hearken to me, seeing that I am of closed lips? So the Lord spoke to Moses and to Aaron, and he commanded concerning the children of Israel and concerning Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, to let the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah imet b'kayei olam notav b'tukenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah. Oh, Melech Naaman.
Amen.
Okay, do me a favor, Jesse. Move your microphone a little bit closer to your mouth, because I'm still having trouble hearing you very well.
It tends to have a desire to wander, so
Yeah, there we go.
Follow the mic a bit.
Okay, because I heard you, but it was very, very soft, and I don't know if the people listening, if we have an audience, that is, if they're we have some audience, because Mark was so kind to look and see, and some people were saying, "Hey, is it going to start or what?" And I thank you, everybody that is listening and watching right now. Thank you for listening to us. Watching us. I got to get used to that, the whole YouTube thing. Anyway, so we have the beginnings of the 10 wonders. So we get the first 7. Okay. If you look at, and I'm saying this to people who are watching this, if you go, articles are listed on the Sephirot, which are the 10 attributes of God. One of the rabbis makes a determination saying that the first 3 attributes of God are, in other words, they're in the mind of God and in the mind of people, actually, as we'll get to. And then the second part, or the other 7, are physical manifestations of God's actions and people's actions. So the thought came to me that, because we have a friend that we love dearly. He's in Kentucky right now. He's found his place and his family, and Leonard is all about why there's 10 men to have a minyan, or the minimum amount of people required in order to pray or to open up the Torah. Jesse, can you elaborate on the minyan?
The minyan is
Yeah.
usually a group of 10 individuals.
Microphone.
I'm swallowing it as much as I can, so it's gonna have to suffer till I can figure out a better way to fix this problem. But the minyan is a group of 10 individuals viewed mostly by Judaism as 10 Jewish souls, 10 Jews who, and it is mainly men, who can start the service for most of the morning blessings or evening blessings that are normally done, whether in service at a synagogue or outside of service, because of the whole mindset. I had the train of thought, and my mind just skipped.
It's called a train wreck.
Yes, it is. It is a bad train wreck because of the whole mindset behind the number of righteous individuals, at the very least, needed for God's presence, if you will.
Okay. Now,
To sum up, because I have a perfect way of putting it, but that just flew out of my head before I could even finish that.
you better go chase it.
No, that'll get us on rabbit trails. We don't have time for those.
Oh, okay. And besides, rabbits aren't kosher. But no, a lot of people, Leonard included, cite, that's why Avram argued with God about, for the sake of 10, would you spare the city? And of course, that's led by tradition, and that's why it requires 10 men to open up prayer, etc. I'm not going to argue with that, but I don't think that's the only reason. There was an article I was reading, and I bookmarked it. Now I can't find the dang thing. Basically, what it said was when 10 men come to pray, angels fear to enter. And that got me thinking. I'm like, what? Well, since we are created in the image of God, we have his characteristics, which means we have some form or portion of the 10 Sepharot, the attributes of God. So to a lesser or greater extent, each person has that mix of attributes. Now, some people are very emotionally driven, some are very logically driven, some are very law driven, some are, you get the idea, right? Right?
Yeah,
okay.
I get the idea.
All right. So what that means to me is that when 10 men gather to pray, the right amount of each part or each attribute is there so that, in essence, God is there listening, which is why a rabbi would choose to say angels fear to tread or angels fear to enter. It's not the people they're afraid of or fear. It's the presence of God that they rightfully fear. And I don't mean as in, anguish. I mean as in respect.
So you're trying to imply that with at the minimum of 10 people for a minyan to be established, there it demonstrates in some sort of esoterical level because on the physical aspect, there's no way to figure out if each individual represents this. They represent each purpose and attribute that God tries to set forth.
Yes. Also, the 10 the 10 wonders, or what we call the 10 plagues, are each taking down a deity of Egypt, right?
That is one of the teachings, yes, that each plague is supposed to be a representation of fighting against what each god represents, what each god of Egypt represented.
Right. So fighting against a falsity or an untruth, right?
Yes.
Okay, I heard that even through the mute button.
Which part?
The sneeze. No, I'm messing with you. So, okay, so in the same way that the first 7 plagues in this portion are shown, they are physical manifestations. So the 10 or the 7 that are physical are revealed. The 3 remaining ones will have a physical manifestation, but they are all in the mind of God as to how they are enacted. Okay? The first, I believe it's 4 of this week's plagues, as we call them, the magicians could duplicate to a certain extent. But then when you got to the lice, they said, hey, this is the finger of God. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened again. So next week's plagues or wonders are really what God is thinking, what he's putting forth. It won't be until the children of Israel see this and really go, oh, this is God's plan. Am I losing you yet?
You might have to clarify for the audience so that because that one needs a little bit more explanation as to how a conclusion could be brought to for the last 4 or 3 for the representation of the mental attributes of God, if you will.
Okay. We have yet to go through the I'm trying to remember the last 3 now. Blindness or darkness, right? There's the death of the firstborn, and then which is the last one, and then there is oh geez, help me out here. Can't hear you.
Sorry, I was going through the Hebrew for each of them, which would be Dam, Svardega, Kimin, Arov, Dever, Shrin, Barad, Arbe, Choshek, Makat, Bekorot, which the last 3 was the locust, the darkness, and the death of the firstborn.
Okay. The locusts are moved by God with the east wind, strong east wind. The blindness or darkness, I still surmise, is the removing of light from the mind. In other words, illumination, sense. Okay. And the death of the firstborn, well, that's really on Pharaoh because of his stiff-necked or his refusal to let the children go. It's not a manifestation that's in Egypt, as far as say the Nile or the ground or the livestock, or it is a right reserved for Pharaoh in his own mind, that he has control over life and death. Okay, does that make sense?
You are helping the situation, yes.
Okay.
It's a little bit better.
Okay.
From what I understand, your description on these the last 3 plagues, which is going to be spoken of in detail next Shabbat, delves
Right.
with the more close attributes of God, the ones that are less physical, less worldly, and more of the supernatural, if you will.
Right. In other words, even though all of the wonders are supernatural, okay, the first 7 people can try to explain away. The last 3, no way. You can't explain it away. And also the last 3 came almost in quick succession, as if it were, birth pangs. which it's getting ready to be, the birth of Israel as a people, being freed from Egypt. So let me see if I can go back to what I was trying to say. Since we are all made in God's image, and we all have the same makeup, if you will, we each have portions of the 10 Sephirot, the 10 attributes, to a lesser or greater degree, as I said before. So when 10 men go to pray, there's enough spirit there that God is there with them, listening to their prayers. I think that's another reason for it takes 10 to pray, to open the ark, etc. So the first 7 of the wonders of the plagues are physical. And if you, I hate to say this, but it is a good example. If you watch the archival footage on VHS, you'll see a bald guy try to explain away, all these different things, and not doing a very good.
Is this that same bald guy who says aliens?
No, it is so let it be written, so let it be done. Come on, you know who I'm talking about. Anyway, so in this week's portion, it's all about, actually this week's and next week's, I should say, it's all about 10. And then in future portions, it's going to be all about 10. The 10 words or the 10 utterances. Why do we have such a, in my mind, this is Frank thinking, okay? Which, if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm a very eclectic thought person. But why is it 10? The 10 Sephirot, the 10 miracles, wonders, or plagues, as some people call them, the 10 utterances, and there's going to be a lot of other 10s. What is it God is trying to impart to us in this portion, actually in all of Torah? That, you see these connections. They come together, they fall apart, they come back together. Where is it leading us to? Jesse?
Where's 10 leading us to? I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to get at with this one.
I guess that we are, in effect, closer to God than we realize. If we would just accept, if we would just want to follow, if we would just fear God, if we, we're already there. That if we would follow, would we need the parting of the Red Sea? Would we need the plagues? Would we need all of this other stuff to happen? All this other sugar?
You trying to say Dayenu?
Yeah, there you go. Dayenu. It would have been enough.
Would have been enough.
And now, next week is the portion where they actually perform the Passover, the Pesach. And there's no way we know that they actually sang Dayenu. From what we understand, Dayenu is a traditional song.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, it would have been enough if we, it would have been enough. So what does it make you think of? Just say anything you want. Once you're done blowing your nose.
Oh, please don't point out that fact to the rest of the world.
They can see you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm only in a small box unless it peeks up on the mic, so I'm good there. But if we consider the number 10, since that has been our hyping for the 10 plagues at this juncture in time, a 10 has always been a representation of good luck or power, strength, or whether divine or physical, considering the fact that 10 men constitute a traditional minyan or a spiritual community. The understandings of 10 revolve around the concept of strength, of power, of luck, of
Authority?
authority you could use. Authority is not exactly where I'm nailing it, but authority could work in this description. Though I will say one of the things that has chimed on me about this portion is not the plagues, because so many people so many times is the plagues brought to the forefront,
Right.
that there are also other attributes that seem to be just a little bit more puzzling. And I know we've spoken about some of these in the past, but like, for example, the whole the whole understanding of God's name, but to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that name was not made known to them. That has
Right.
always been a rather pickling concept, and I've heard many descriptions both out of you and my father and out of other writers about why it is this way, but I get the feeling that there's more to it than the descriptions people give, because in all honesty, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, they were supposed to be close with God, if you will.
So
And they were given a different name to know him by, especially if you look about back at the Hebrew. There are sections in the Hebrew where Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob still address him by the Yod He Vav He name instead of El Shaddai, which is how they have Almighty God here.
so what's in a name?
In a name, if we take Hebrew interpretation of it all, it is the manifestation of one's being, if you will.
Or their authority, right?
Their representation.
Right.
Is a
But
better word.
it literally is their authority. Because in last week's portion, we found about, we found Yithro. Now, it is said Yithro had many names. He had many forms of authority. So El Shaddai is one aspect or form of God's authority. We say Hashem, literally the name, is his authority. So they have El Shaddai, which is what the authority that Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov knew him as. And now we have Yehovah, or Jehovah, as some pronounce it, which is the name or authority that he's operating in now, right?
The name Yod He Vav He. Yes.
Okay. So even Abraham, after Yitzhak was born, knew God by another name, uh, Jehovah Jireh or Jehovah Yireh. God will provide. That was another form of authority. There are infinite uh, layers of authority that God has.
To expound and help with the situation, I get the feeling, I think I know where you're going with this, and I think this is where we can tie it right back into your 10 commandments focus, is the whole aspect that each name meant Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob probably knew him as Yod He Vav He, probably knew him as El Shaddai, but their focus was the whole fact of El Shaddai, based on the way that God is describing it here, because the whole mindset is this is the name that his representation was. This
Right,
is the aspect he portrayed more so than not to uh, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
exactly.
I'm going to portray the fact of the Almighty God to them, because this is what they need at the time. This is what
Right,
they need from me. I will show you Yod He Vav He now, because this is what you and the children of Israel need at this juncture in time. This is the name you will know me by. You can
right.
use
And
the
it's
other aspects and other understandings if you want, given the situation you're in, but this is the name I'm giving you at the moment.
right. And it was the idea that he is fulfilling his promise to the children of Israel to bring them up out of bondage and to take them to their land that he had promised their forefathers. That is the aspect that, from what we can see, God is operating in at the moment.
Yes, exactly. So if each name is an attribute, so does that mean there are only 10 names of God, or 10 important names of God?
I don't think it's limited to 10 because even in the Sephiroth, uh, there's different things, whether it be wisdom or justice or mercy or restraint, or there are different aspects of each section, and in that you can have many names because you might connect wisdom, chokhmah, with justice and create mercy, or have all three together, and there's a specific name for that. So as far as God is concerned, I think he has a name for almost every situation. But in general, he has 10 names of renown, I would say.
Hence where I was going with that. There are 10 important names, 10 names of prominence to dwell on, to focus on, given the
Right,
attribute you are viewing of God at that time.
right. I mean, and in no way is God limited. Heaven forbid I should ever say that. It's just that these are prominent names throughout history that God has used.
If someone was to ask the question, who is God, and did not want an individual name, how would you describe what God is? or who God is without at least gesturing to a name to begin with, and then going into detail from there.
Well, I would say what God said. I would say Aa, Asher Aa, which is often mistranslated as an I am that I am. Right?
He's not Popeye, so yeah, it
Yeah.
might be mentioned that way.
Right. But it is mistranslated to I am that I am, right?
That is the usual translation for it.
Right. It's the usual English translation, but it is not the Hebrew translation. It is one of them written down in one of the articles on Kabod today was I am what I am becoming, if I remember right. The it's almost, and I'm not a Hebrew scholar, so it's almost as if I am what you need me to be right now. No?
I'm trying to follow with that one.
Well,
And I think I see what you're getting at with it, but I'm just wanting to double check
right.
the attribute of God through the name I am that I am is more akin to I am what I am becoming. What would be what would be the attribute of God displayed there?
That he is forever. That he's the pre-existing one. Uh, he is always. He's not just the god of the month club, or you know, this weather has, this name, and this season has that name, and all the other false gods that have been created. Um, he is the God of everything.
Okay, I see what you're I see where you're trying to go with that. The his name I am that I am is more of a infinite representation, if you will.
Right, right. At least that's the way I understand it. Again, I can be wrong. I'm not a Hebrew scholar, so, but that's what it appeared to be in what I was reading. So,
And
um,
outside of learning the Hebrew language in itself, I don't find myself as much of a Hebrew scholar as I would like to be either. So you're in good company here.
yes, but you at least can read Hebrew and speak it, whereas I'm limited to what I can see, and I only pick it up through the transliterated uh, and the Hebrew written in English, and listening to other people speak it and what it's supposed to mean. And so, you know, I guess one of my wishes would be to live in Israel for a year or two, to just to be able to pick up how to speak it uh, now, and then while doing that, learn the biblical Hebrew. So, but maybe next year in Jerusalem, right?
There's always a next year.
So now that we've gone down this rabbit trail of my thought, what's some of the things you see? I know you did state some of them. I want to get back to them. I don't want to leave them out.
Well, technically, we have been trying to touch to some degree on at least one of the references that I had seen. The portrayal of of God of God being portrayed in other names and other facets. Facets would be a better word for what I've been aiming for. In other facets to individuals, to different people. Does that change who he is, or does that just change what what the people were expecting from God, if you will?
Well, maybe it's where he meets them. Oh yes, he is El Shaddai, but did you know he's also Jehovah Jireh? Oh, did you know he's also, so it's a he meets them at one place, and then he compounds the names and says, hey, I am also this. Hey, I am also this. Hey, I am also this. You don't need a separate God for all this other stuff happening. Just come talk to me. Huh? I can't hear you.
Oh, I was flipping the wrong direction. I thought I was flipping unmute whenever I was muted.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is rather interesting considering that if we take under consideration the English translation in Chabad for God's name, Almighty God, which would be El Shaddai. The interesting thing is if we go back to Abram and study up on that, the commandment given to God by to Abraham by God. I almost did sacrilege there. To Abraham by God is once he is given the name El Shaddai. Once God says that he is El Shaddai, he tells Abraham, "Walk before me and be perfect." To portray a attribute or an aspect of you the name not only is a relationship of an aspect of God, but it is also how you are to interact with God.
Okay.
Yod He Vav He is a name that is more personal, if you will, more face to face. While the name El Shaddai is more of a walk before God, you walk with God, yes, but your walk with God is more of a you are God's you are the portrayal. You are what God wants people to see, wants people to do. So
Okay.
you walk before God instead of walk with God, if you will.
Okay. Now, I don't know. You probably heard it said this way, but walk before me and be perfect essentially means walk before me and mature or grow up in what I'm telling you, what I'm teaching you. Is that correct?
Say that again.
Okay. Instead of saying walk before me and be perfect, it's walk before me and mature in what I am giving to you. Grow up.
Walk before God as in a development.
Yeah. As in him holding the hands of a child and teaching the child to walk before him.
I'm sorry. Uh, I had someone saying something to me.
That's right.
Walk before God as a development is the way you're portraying it, correct?
Yes. In
As
other
an
words,
established.
right. In other words, he is the Most High, blessed be He, is teaching Avram all of his precepts, and he's saying, "Walk before me and mature, grow up in what I'm trying to tell you." In other words, come to understanding.
The walk before you business does tend to lay hint to the whole development status. It all, especially when Abraham described, especially when it's described to Joseph's two sons. God had been essentially a shepherd for those that walk before him.
Right.
He has been a guide. He has been a help. He has been one to lead you as to what you need to do and how to act.
Right. An instructor, a teacher, a leader, a guardian.
Exactly.
Right. So so we get to see next week the three hidden aspects of God that produce physical manifestations.
Next week deals with, you kind of
Locust,
broke the locust, yeah. The locust, the darkness, the let me see.
death of the firstborn.
The locust, the darkness, death of the firstborn. I believe it does deal with just a little bit more. Just double checking.
Hmm.
Yeah, just the locust, the darkness, and the death of the firstborn.
Okay.
Because the ending of the plague of hail was the last plague for this portion.
Right. And of course, we're not going to get everything because there's just too much in each portion. We'd be here for another 5 or 6 hours just for this portion alone, maybe longer. And I don't think anybody could stand to listen to us for 5 to 7 hours, or at least me. That is, huh?
Hit the wrong mute button. Don't sell yourself short. We could probably do that. It's just I don't think we've got the material to keep our mouths talking for 4 or 5 extra hours over just one Torah portion.
Have you
We
talked
gotta
to the
dig.
people that know us?
You mean not the Rebbe?
Yeah, yeah. There's an expression. We could keep talking for hours. We might not make any sense, but we can keep talking for hours.
Yeah. We tend to not make sense after the first two. No,
So,
no, but in all sincerity, I'm actually rather curious if there are others who have come up with new understandings,
hmm,
any opinions, because this is 2.5 opinions, but we've been away for a few weeks, and in all honesty, if we're going to start doing this video chat program, I would really like to see what others would think of, what others would come up with. I would want to look in the chat box for YouTube and see what other people have questions about, what we can expound on. Because this week, while we have attempted to try to expound on Vaira and better people's knowledge about how the Torah portion is viewed in multiple lights and multiple aspects, not just Messianic, not just Jewish. We are here to show multiple opinions. Well, we want multiple opinions. If someone has a thought that we haven't looked up, or if someone has a question that we seem to have glossed over, getting an answer, getting a statement from them would be wonderful. And so if anyone does listen, and I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure all of the shows on Lamb Radio would love this same kind of response and same kind of attribute, because we learn more about the audience we're trying to teach. We're trying to explain to, because not all of us are teachers. Explain to.
Well, that's true, and even those who claim to be teachers aren't teachers. So
true, but
yeah, no, we only want to bring our opinion and say this is what we see. Are we wrong? Is there something else we're missing? Is there something else you can add? This is what I understand. This is what you understand. This is what, not the Rebbe understands, that kind of thing. I mean, that's where the name for the show actually came from, where two Jews are assembled, you get three opinions. So.
Exactly. And so what we would love to see is people getting on YouTube, going to Messianic Lamb Radio, joining or subscribing to that link, and listening in on the live shows that are normally broadcasted on Messianic Lamb Radio, so that we can, because while you are watching that live broadcast, there is a chat box that is right next to the video viewing, and it helps you. It helps us in figuring out what questions you have, figuring out what opinions you have.
Right. I already typed in a message. Did you see it?
Not yet. I think there's a subtle delay on it.
Well, do you have the group chat window open on your thing? You go scoot over to the left-hand side of the camera image, and there's a menu that slides out up top. There's a little blue box with some lines in it. That's the chat. It'll show up. I can't hear you again.
No, I already see it, but I'm ignoring that aspect. That's what I'm trying to explain, is leaving your questions here does tend to help us respond faster and better our knowledge, because multiple.
You have a shadow off to your side.
Yes, because multiple people and individuals. One moment. Because multiple people, individuals, understandings help us develop our show and help us get to multiple people.
Right.
And help. And I think I'm losing my train of thought. But but I believe I have said all that I think I can say at this juncture in time. And we have covered a good portion of this portion, just not as much as we could cover. Do we have any more that we could add about this portion? That was my 5-minute monologue of trying to sell the show.
Yeah, I kind of figured that's what you were doing. So you only actually spoke about a portion of the portion, right?
Proportionally.
Oy. Okay. So I'm pretty sure I can drop a line to Jeremy and see if he can, jump on the chat. I didn't get the chance to do it today, so I didn't know how things are going to go. So what do you think of my backdrop back here?
It is fitting for the kind of setup we've got going on today. Then again, though, considering the house and family I normally do the show with, I think my background is rather fitting as well.
Hey, good job. Good job. Okay, so I guess that's it then. Last words, parting shots, anything?
This is our first attempt of 2.5 opinions after being gone for a few weeks, and so it may seem like we're a little rusty, but don't worry. We'll get back into the swing of things right quick and proper, and we'll actually be doing proper full-length teachings instead of just trying to sell you what we sold you today.
I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. Come on now.
Just make sure to buy this parting rug whenever you're going.
Uh,
but but in the when it comes to the Torah portion, there are many attributes for God, many attributes for each portion. All I can say, and I'm not trying to sound like a preacher whenever I say this, what attribute do you need, and what attribute does everyone else need? I truly believe that's the big thing for for at least the first part of this portion when it came to dealing with the different names of God is what kind of what what kind of not trying to sound polytheistic in this one, what kind of God do you need? That's what the names are supposed to represent, is the type of God someone needs at that juncture in time, the type of God that helps them develop and become the kind of person that God wants them to become.
or could we say it this way? Could we say that the aspects of God are what you need at that time? It's all God. It's just where are you meeting him at in your need?
Same. I believe you worded it pretty well as well, considering the fact that in my mind, though I don't know about in your mind, in my mind, you and I said essentially the same thing, just different ways of wording it.
Well, we usually do.
True.
Usually it's
like-minded individuals and whatnot.
yeah. Well, usually Chris says it one way and I say it another way, and you're sitting there going, "Hey, wait a second! You both are saying the same thing."
I've done that a few times.
No, really?
But anyways, yes, that is what we are trying. That is what I'm trying to say in my parting words, is the whole mindset and aspect of, if there are multiple names for God and multiple attributes of God, what is it in your life that needs which attribute? What
Mm.
what attribute of God will better you as an individual? Will strengthen you in the way that God believes you should be strengthened, if you will. How do you need God in your life?
Well, yeah, actually, that's a good way to put it. It's, do you really need God's mercy right now? Do you really need God's judgment right now? Do you need God's uh, parenting right now? Do you need God's, help? Do you need to show God respect? I mean, there are, what is it? 70 different facets of each portion in the Torah, if I remember. So, everything is multifaceted. It's what is it you're looking for? What is it you need at this moment? And whatever it is, God can help you.
Exactly. So, with that, what would your parting gift be to this crowd of some people?
Well, it's not just listeners, it's watchers now. So, all I have to say is, I'm not the Rabbi. Yeah, you're muted again.
That's the other guy's line. But yes, you are not the rabbi either.
Okay. So, yeah, just keep reading, keep learning, keep studying. There's enough God in your life to keep learning about. You can never not learn something from God. Is that right?
You can never learn too much.
No, you can never learn too little about God.
True.
So I guess we come to a close. Our first video for 2.5 opinions. So
this was our lovely field test to see if this video concept will be a good thing to go on.
right, all right. So I'm Frank,
I'm Yishai.
and we're missing somebody, so we're not complete yet. But
1 3/4 opinion.
2 opinions.
He views himself as one, at the very least 1.5. So probably 75% of an opinion.
Well, I've got more opinions than that. So
This is 2.5 opinions. We will be back with Mr. Not the Rabbi next week.
right. And don't forget to hang up at the top, and I'll hang up, and we'll see you next week, folks. You're muted again.
Blah, blah, blah. That's all, folks.
I figured that's what you were doing. All right. Shalom.
Shavuot tov, Laila tov, v'lehitrot.